Heath, good to meet you, man. How's it going?
Hey, good to meet you, Dan. What's up, buddy?
All good, thanks. How are things where you're at right now in this crazy world that we're living in?
Man, it's pretty good, dude. I mean, we're starting to open back up, get back to normal, and it's starting to spring weather's finally here, man. It's about 60 degrees outside, and so life's pretty good in Tennessee, brother.
Well, I've got lots to speak to you about because I'm absolutely loving the new EP Common Ground. Been listening to it on repeat, and obviously you only get one chance to make a good impression, as they say. So tell us a little bit about that project and what you wanted to achieve with it and what you wanted it to say about you and your music.
Yeah. Um, I think the EP for me was really just it was kind of a sampler to folks. I mean, obviously the songs, every song on there is incredibly different. We didn't strike just one vein that we were really going for. It was we really wanted to put out kind of a sampler to folks and see what their feedback is and what songs it was that they gravitated to. Um, it's really cool. They ended up gravitating to my two favorite songs on the EP, which are Common Ground and Old School's In. So yeah, man, it's I guess those two songs there are really were really the basis of the EP. They really embody kind of who I am, and Old School is obviously kind of a pat on the back to and an ode to my hometown and just the blue collar way of life and those that small town culture. And then Common Ground is kind of it's kind of reflection. It's kind of a reflection on the things I've learned over the last 3 years and how my worldview has kind of grown and how I understand. I feel like I understand other cultures a little better now that I've got to see them. So yeah, man, we're really proud of it. We're proud of how it's turned out and really excited about the reception that we're seeing from it.
Yeah, and talk to me about working with the one and only Mr. Dan Huff because he's one of the best producers out there. Just love whatever the guy puts his expertise to. So tell us about working with him and
Yeah,
just how much you learned during that process.
man, I always compare it watching Dan in the studio to possibly watching Picasso paint. That's about the only thing I know to compare it to. I mean, the guy's he just has this way about him where he understands music and music theory. And not only does is he an incredible musician and producer, but he has a way of communicating with the band and making everyone feel like they're part of the project. And I was telling somebody earlier this morning about how somebody with success that Dan has had throughout the years and across the country and the world, he's still humble enough to take advice from brand new artists like myself when it comes to their own projects. And that takes a good man to do that. It takes a humble individual and a smart individual. And it was an honor to work with him, man. He really is something special.
And I wanted to chat with you about some of the songwriters you worked with as well, the likes of Casey Beathard on Old School's In and Ben Hayslip on Love Needs Making. I mean, these are like some of the top guys in Nashville. When you get into a writing room, how inspiring is it to be joined by these kind of people and have so much creativity in the room?
It's amazing, man. It's the coolest thing about it is learning how guys like that, like the Red Akins, is the Ben Hayslips and the Casey Beathards, and because you hear about them, you know they've written all these legendary songs and stuff. Um, and the most pleasant thing about getting to finally meet them is realizing how much they truly are just like me, man. They're just good old boys, and they've got a passion for music and a passion for words and lyric, and they made their way to Tennessee from their humble beginnings, just like I did, and so it's cool, man. It's these guys really know what they're talking about when they write these songs, because they've lived the life, and I feel like in country music, if you're gonna write about a particular lifestyle, you probably should have lived it, and so I think that's what's so special about those guys.
Very cool. And speaking of Casey on Old School's In, you went with that one for the radio single. So what was it about that one that just felt like a radio hit to you?
Man, I just felt like because it boiled down to Common Ground and Old School's In for the radio single, and I think the conversation that I had with the label was, man, do we want to come out of the gate with a ballad and some moral message from a moral message delivered from someone that not very many people know, or do we want to come out of the gate and let them know who Heath Sanders is, make a splash on radio? When when old school's in comes on the radio, it's obviously incredibly contrasting to probably the song before it. And so I think that's what it is. I think old school was the head turner, and I think it laid the foundation for who I am as an artist and a person. Um, so that's how we landed on old school. I figure we'll follow it up with common ground, which I think is an important strategy and a smart strategy, man, to kind of lay that foundation of who you are first, and then deliver your message. Not maybe right out of the gate.
Yeah. But you just mentioned the whole strategy there, and I was going to ask you about linking it with Big Machine and how big that's been for you. Like, how much of a difference does it make to have the backing of such a big established label as someone like yourself who's just starting out, really?
Dude, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, country music is a business, and radio is a business of relationships. A good song can get you a long way, but a good song and a good relationship can get you to a number one. So it's awesome to have people like that at your back. And I just love my label, man, which I'm on the Valory imprint of Big Machine. And we're just I think they call themselves the misfit toys, just because we're all just a bunch of good timers, and we like to cut up and party. And so I've landed at the right place, and I'm really blessed to have a good team on my back, man.
That's great, man. And what's the long-term plan for new music for you? Do you have a lot more music that's in the can ready to go on future EPs or maybe an album? Like, what's the plan long term?
Yeah, I mean, the day after we released the EP, I got an album full of songs together and sent to my label and said, "Hey, man, we're ready. Y'all just say when." And luckily, since then, I've even written a couple more that I think would be great for a project. And so I've got a list of about 10 or 12 sitting on go, and then we're just replacing them as I write better songs. And yeah, man. I mean, to hear the label talk, we're in this for the long haul. So what I'm hoping that we do is we follow up pretty quickly, and are in the studio by the first of next year, hopefully.
That's very cool. We look forward to hearing that. And just before I let you go, Heath, got to ask you about the UK. Obviously, being here in the UK, have you got any plans once COVID is over? We're crossing our fingers that that's pretty soon. Are you going to come and visit us in the UK? Because we'd love to have you over.
Dude, I'd love it too, man. I was telling a lady earlier that before I'd even signed with the label, we had got some individual or some offers from the UK to come over and play, and we had planned on doing all that just independently. And of course, COVID got in the way, and then we signed with the label, and so a lot of things ended up happening. But it's always kind of been the plan since I started getting Facebook messages from the UK and of fans over there that we want to come see you guys and hang out with you guys most definitely. And as soon as all this is over, we're gonna come see y'all. We're gonna party, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing this today, man. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, best of luck with all new music. Excited for you, man.
Dan, I appreciate it, brother.